Yeah, today we discuss some manual testing interview question. Let's begin. What is the difference between a functional requirement and non-functional requirement? The functional requirement is specify how the system or application should do, wherein a non-functional requirement it is specify how the system or application should be. Some functional requirements are authentication, business rule, historical data, legal and regulatory requirement, external interfaces. Some non-functional requirements are performance, reliability, security, recovery, data integrity, usability. How severity and priority are related to each other. Severity tells the seriousness of the the bug, whereas priority tells which bug should rectify first. Severity application point of view, priority user point of view. Explain the different type of severities. User interface defects, boundary related defects, error handling defects, calc- calculation defects, interpreting data defects, hardware failure and problem, compatibility and inter-system defects, control flow defects, load condition, memory leakage under load testings. What is the difference between priority and severity? The term priority and severity are used to in a bug tracking to share the importance of a bug among the team and to fix it. Severity is found the application point of view. Priority is the found in the user point of view. Severity tells the seriousness depth of the bug. The severity status is used to explain how badly the deviation is affected the build. The severity type is defined by the tester based on the written test cases and functionality. Example, if an application or web page crashes when a remote link clicked, in the case click the remote link by an user rare, but the impact of the application crashing is severe, so the severity is high and priority is low. Priority tells which bug should rectify first. The priority status is set by the tester to developer mentoring. The time frame to fix the defect is is mentioned, then the developer has fixed the earlier. The priority status is set based on the customer requirements. What is a defect severity? A defect is a product abnormal or flaw which is variance from desired product specification. The classification of defect based on its impact on operation of product is called defect severity. What is bucket testing? Bucket testing, also known as A/B testing, is a mostly used to study the impact of various product design in the website. And metrics to simulate the various were run in a single or set of web pages to measure the different in a click rate, interfaces and traffic. What is entry and exit criteria in software testing? Entry criteria is a process that must be present when a system begin, like SRS software requirement specification and FRS functional requirement specification, use cases, test plan. Exit criteria ensure whether test is completed and the application is ready for release, like a test summary report, metrics, defect analysis reports. What is the concurrency testing? Concurrency testing, also commonly known as the multi-user testing, is used to know the effect of accessing the application code module or database by different user at the same time. It helps in identify and measuring the problem in a response time, level of logging and logging in the application. Example, low run, runner is widely used for the type of testing. Vegan virtual user generator is used to add the number of concurrent user and how the user need to be add like gradual ramp up or cycle step. Explain explain statement coverage oblique code coverage line coverage. Statement coverage or code coverage or line coverage is a matrix used in a wide box testing where we can identify the statement executed and where the code is not executed because of a blockage. In this progress, each and every line of a code need to be checked and executed. Some advantage of statement coverage, code coverage, line coverage. It verify what the written code is expected to do and not to do. It measures the quality of a code written. It checks the flaws of a different path in the program, also ensure the tested or not. To calculate the statement coverage, statement case upon total number of statements. Explain the branch coverage, decision coverage. Branch coverage or decision coverage merit is used to check the value of testing done in all components. This process is used to ensure whether all the code is executed by verify every branch or decision outcome if and while statement by the executing at least one time so that no branch lead to failure of the application. To calculate the branch coverage, branch coverage equal to tested decision outcome to decision upon a outcome. What is the difference between high level and low level test cases? High level test cases are those which cover major functionality in the application, retrieves, update, display, cancel functionality related test cases. Database test cases, low level test cases are those related to user interface in the application. Explain risk analysis in a software testing. In software testing, risk analysis is the process of the identify the risk in application and prioritize them to the test. In software testing, some unavoidable risk might test like place the like and change in the requirement or implement the requirements. Time allocation for testing, developer delaying to deliver the build for testing, urgency from client for delivery, defect leakage due to application size or complexity. What is the difference between two-tier architecture and three-tier architecture? In two-tier architecture or client-server architecture, two layer like a client and server involve the client send request to the server and the server responds to the request by the fetching the data from it. The problem with the two-tier architecture is the server can't respond to multiple requests at the same time, which cause a data integrity issue. The client server testing involve testing the two-tier architecture of a user interface in the front end and database and as a backup and dependency on client hardware and server. In three-tier architecture or multi-tier architecture, three layer like a client server and database are involved in This client send a request to server where the server send the request to database for a database, and on the request database send back the data to server, and from send the data is forwarded to client. The web application tested involve testing the three-tier architecture, include the user interface functionality, performance, compatibility, security, and database testing. What is the difference between static testing and dynamic testing? Static testing done in verification stage. Static testing is a white box testing technique where the developer verify or test their code with the help of checklist to find the error in it. This type of testing is done without running the actual developed application, or a program code review or inspection walkthrough are mostly done in the this stage is testing. Dynamic testing done in the validation stage. Dynamic testing is done by executing the actual application with valid input to check the unexpected output. Example of dynamic testing is methodology are unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Some differ between the static and the dynamic testing are: explain use case diagram. What the attributes of use cases. Use cases diagram is an overview graphical representation of the functionality in the system. It is used in the analysis phase of project to specify the system to be developed. In a use case diagram, to whole system is a design as a actor, use case, and association. The actors are the external part of system like a user, computers, and hardware. Use case is a behavior or functionality of the system. When these actors perform on an the association or the line draw to show the connection between actors and use cases. One actor can linked to many use cases, and one uses can link to many actors. What is a web application testing? Explain the different phase in a web application testing. Web application testing is done on a website to check its load, performance, security, functionality, interface, compatibility, and other usability related issue. In web application testing, three phases of testing is done. They are web tier testing. In the web testing, the browser compatibility of the application will be tested for Edge, Firefox, and other web browser. Middle tier, in middle tier, the functionality and security issues were tested. Database test tier testing. In database testing, the database into the and the content of the database where the tested are verified. Explain unit testing, interface testing, and integration testing. Also explain type of integration testing in a brief. Unit testing is done to check the whether the individual module of a source code are working properly. Testing each and every unit of the application separately by the developer in a developer's environment. Interface testing is done to check whether the individual module are communicating properly one among other as per the specification. Interface testing is mostly used in a testing the user interface GUI application. Integration testing is done to check connectivity by becoming all the individual together and test the functionality. The type of integration testing are big bang integration testing, top down integration testing, bottom up integration testing. Explain alpha, beta, gamma testing. Alpha testing is a mostly like performing a usability testing, which is done by the in-house developer who developed the software, or tester. Sometimes is the alpha testing is done by client or outsider with the presence of the developer and tester. The version release after the alpha testing is called alpha release. Beta testing is done by limited number of end user before the delivery. The change request would be fixed if the user give a feedback or report defect. The version release after the beta testing is called a data release. Gamma testing is done when the software is ready for the release with a specified requirement. This testing is done directly by the skies all the in-house testing activities. What is test harness? Test harness is a configuration, a set of a tool and test data to test the application in a various conditions, which involve monitoring the output with expected output for correctness. The benefit of test harness are productivity increase due to purpose automation, quality in the application. What is the difference between bug log and defect log tracking? Bug log documents showing the number of defects such as open, close, reopen, or def- deferred of a particular module. Defect tracking, the process of tracking as defects such as a symptom, whether the reproducible, not priority, severity, and its status. What are the integration testing and the regression testing? Integration testing, combination combining the module together and constructing software architecture to test the communication and the data flow. White, white and black box testing technique are used. It is done by developer and tester. Regression testing. It is a re-execution of our testing after the bug is fixed to ensure that the build is free from the bug. Done after the bug is fixed. It is done by tester. Explain compatibility testing with an example. Compatibility testing is evaluate the application compatibility with the computing environment like operating system, database, browser compatibility, backward compatibility, computing the capacity of the hardware, platform, and compatibility of the peripherals. Example, if the compatibility testing is done on a game application before installing a game on computer, its compatibility is checked with the computer specification that where it is the compatibility with the computer having that much of a specific or not. What is traceability matrix? Traceability matrix is a document used for tracking the request, test cases, and the defect. The document is prepared to make the client satisfy that the coverage done is complete and end to end. This is document consists of requirements, baseline doc, refer number, test cases, condition, defects, bug ID. Using this document, the person can track the requirement based on the defect IDs. Explain boundary value testing and equivalent testing with some example. Boundary value testing is a technique to find the whether the application is accepting the expected range of values and rejecting the values which falls out range. Example, a user ID text box has to accept alpha beta character A to Z with the length of 4 to 10 character. dba is done like a max value 10 pass, max 9 9 pass, and max plus 1 equal double 1 fail, min 4 pass, min plus 1 equal to 5 5 pass, min minus 1 equal to 3 fail. Likewise, we check the corner value and come out with conclusion whether the application is accepting correct range of values. Equivalent test is a normally used to check the type of object. Example, a user ID text box accept the alphabet character A to Z with the length of 4 to 10 character in a positive condition. We have tested the objects by the alphabet and that needed to check the object the value it will be passed in negative condition have to check by given other alphabetic character A to Z 0 to 9 blank etc. It will be fail. What is security testing? Security testing is a process that determines that confidentiality data staying confidentiality or testing how will the system protects against the unauthorized the internal or external access willful damage. This process involve functional testing, penetration testing and verification test. What is installation testing? Installation testing is done to verify the whether the hardware and software are installed and configured properly. This will ensure that all the system components were used during the testing process. This installation testing will look out the testing for the high value data error message as well as security test. What is AUT? AUT is nothing but application and under test. After the designing and code the phase in software development life cycle, the application comes for the testing. Then at that time, application is stated as application under test. What is a defect leakage? Defect leakage occur at the customer or the end user side after the application delivery, after the release of the application to client. If the end user get any type of a defect by using that application, then it called as a defect leakage. This defect leakage is also called a bug leakage. What is error guessing and error seeding? Error guessing is a test case design technique where the tester has guessed what fault might occur and design the test to represent them. Error seeding is a process of adding a no fault intentionally in a program for the reason of monitoring the rate of detection and removal and also estimate the number of faults remaining in a program. What is ad hoc testing? Ad hoc testing is a concern with the application testing without following any rules or test cases. For ad hoc testing, one should have strong knowledge about the application. What is the difference between software testing and quality assurance? Software testing involves operation of a system or application under control condition and evaluating the result. It is oriented to detection. Quality assurance involves the entire software development process, monitoring and improving the process, making it sure that any agreed upon the standard procedure are followed and ensuring that the problem found and dealt with. It is oriented to prevention. What is equivalent partitioning? Concept equivalent partitioning is a method for delivery driving the test cases in the method class of the input condition called equivalent class are identified such as each number of the class cause the same kind of processing and out of occur in the method the tester identify various equivalent classes for partitioning. A class is a set of input condition that are is likely to be handled the same way by the system. If the system were to handle one cases class, erroneously it would handle all the cases erroneously. While learn equivalent partitioning drastically cut down the number of the test cases required to test a system reasonability, and it is an attempt to get good hit rare to find the most error with the smallest number of the test cases. What are two types of matrices? Process matrix, primary matrix are also called a process matrix. This is matrix the Six Sigma partitioner care about the can influence primary matrix are most the direct output characteristic of the process. It is a measure of the process and not a measure of a high level business objective. Primary process metrics are usually process defect, the process cycle time, and process consumption. Product metrics product metrics quantitatively characterize aspect of the structure of the software but products such as the requirement specification, a design of a source code. Why do you go for white box testing when black box testing is available? A benchmark that certifies commercial business aspect and also functional technique aspect of these objective of the black box testing. Here loops, structure arrays, conditional files, it is see are every micro level, but they are basement for any application. So white box testing these thing in a micro level and test these things. What is a baseline document? Can you say any two? A baseline document which start understanding of the application before the tester start actual testing, functional specification and business requirement documents. What exactly heuristic checklist approach for the unit testing? It is a method of achieving the most appropriate solution of a several found by alternative method is selected at a successive state testing. The checklist prepared to process is called heuristic checklist. What is a data guideline? Data guideline are used to specify the data required to populate the test bed and the prepare the test script. It include all the data parameters that are required to test the condition derived from the requirement specification. The document which support in the preparing test data are called the guideline. Why do you go for test bed? When test condition is executed, is result should be compared to test result. The test data is needed for the year to come to roll of the test bed where the test data is a mid ready. Why do we prepare test condition, test cases, test script before starting the testing? These are test design documents which are used to execute the actual testing without which execution of a testing is impossible. Finally, this execution is going to find the bug to be fixed. So we have prepared these documents.